This inside line is all about bed covers for the 2020 and newer Jeep Gladiator. Let's get to it. I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance for the bug noise today. I have no reason why they are super excited, but this is just going to be the audio challenge I'm going to work through today. Now, one of the most exciting things about the Gladiator platform to me is the fact that, well, it has a bed, and it really gives me a lot more utility and usability out of it over a Wrangler. It's one of the reasons I got rid of my Wrangler and got a Gladiator. Now, one of the challenges with the Gladiator is the fact that once I have the kids in the truck, you don't really have as much room for gear, so you have to start putting stuff in the bed. Now, obviously, to keep the stuff out of the elements, you got to do some type of cover. Now, in the past, I've tested soft covers, and I had not really had a chance to look at a lot of the hard cover options. Hard covers are typically a little bit more expensive, and obviously, they're a little bit heavier than a soft cover. Given that I like to carry motorcycles in the back of the Gladiator, I was kind of reluctant to get a hard cover because I want something that I can easily pull off and sort of set to the side when I need to. Now, I decided a few months ago that I was going to take this Gladiator to Moab, Utah for the annual Easter Jeep Safari. Now, that meant I was going to have to stuff the bed of this thing full of not only my off-road gear, but since I don't run the 37-inch trail grappler in the stock location, it was going to be in the bed as well. Now, I knew I'd be staying at hotels as I drove cross country, and even though most hotels seemingly are pretty safe, I wanted something that was going to give me a little bit more peace of mind and some added security, something a little bit more durable than a soft roll cover in the fact that it should be a little harder to break into something. So I looked at some options and actually got a chance to test out a few different ones, and what I landed on was this Armis cover from Rugged Ridge. Now, this is a tri-fold cover, meaning you flip it 3 times and then you have full access to the bed. This cover has these little prop rods, making it very easy to access your gear, and it's really just one of those more usable covers that I found. To install the cover, you will need to remove the front portion of the Jeep's factory trail rail system so you can install the 2 forward brackets in place. Once installed, you can reattach the rail. Yes, this will work if you have or do not have the factory trail rail system. Next, you'll need to clean the top of the bulkhead and run the provided weather seal between the plastic bed caps on either side. Rugged Ridge engineered a rain gutter of sorts into the cover side rails. While the provided plastic hose gives the water a way to escape, you will need to drill through the rubber plugs at the front of the bed to allow the water to dump out. To secure the cover brackets at the rear of the bed, you'll need to trim away a small section of the indented plastic that is covering the nuts. I strongly recommend placing a piece of cardboard behind the plastic so you won't accidentally cut into the paint. Once you have the piece uncovered, you can loosely attach the rear bracket and place the 2 bed rails on top of the plastic caps. On the bottom side of each rail, you'll have a small piece of foam. This is going to allow it to give a little bit more weather sealing for when it sits on top of the caps. At this point, you can go ahead and install the top side of the drain hose and bolt in the rails at the front and rear mounting locations with the provided hardware. Finally, you are ready to install the cover. You'll want to make sure it's square before completely latching it down. The front latches are simple hand latches that have 2 knobs that allow you to turn and secure it in place. It took me a few minutes to get mine lined up perfect, but once you do, you can go ahead and either crawl underneath and tighten it down like I did, or you can flip the cover very carefully and then tighten up the front latches. To use the cover, you simply pull down one of the latch pulls on either side of the panel. If you want to drive with the bed partially uncovered, there are 2 straps at the front that will keep the forward panels from flipping back. The cover is comprised primarily of aluminum that is coated in Line-X. Now I have found this to be very durable, not only in handling and pulling off the cover, but even going off-road. It's not staining and it's been fairly easy to clean up after a weekend of wheeling. I know weather sealing is probably the most important for most people that are looking at bed covers, so I want to spend a little bit of time talking about that. Now I've had this cover on for 6 months now, I guess a little bit over, and I've taken this thing to Moab, Uwharrie, really all over, and we've gone on family vacations with this Jeep. And what I have found is this. I did initially have a leak with it, but it had nothing to do with the cover. My challenge or issue was I sometimes put a bed rack on here to put my rooftop tent, and it has left little depressions in the top caps of the bed rails. What I did to fix that problem is I added a little bit of extra foam, and ever since then I haven't really had a big water leak or dust leak on the back of this cover. Is it 100% watertight? No, none of these are. I've tested multiple covers, and what I can tell you is they all leak a little bit. This thing does have a dedicated drain rail. It has a rubber membrane that runs the entire length of the cover, and it does a very good job of keeping water out of the bed. When we go on trips and we have our luggage and all that stuff back here, we've gone through rainstorms, and it hasn't been an issue where I open the tailgate now and everything's soaked. So for the most part, I would say this cover does a really good job for that. The dust hasn't been too bad. I go to Game Lands a lot, or if go up to Uwharrie when it's dusty, and ever since I figured out where the dust was coming in from those depressions, I haven't really had a big issue with dust going all over the place. Again, manage your expectations. It's not perfect, but it does a very good job. Now, a couple things that I think is also worth mentioning. This cover doesn't, pull water or anything like that, since it's a hard cover. That's an issue I do have sometimes with a soft cover. Another thing that I really like about it is you don't have to do anything special when you open and close it. And what I mean by that is some other covers, you actually have to keep this up, shut the tailgate, and then shut the cover. With this seal on the back of the cover, it doesn't matter. So if you just need to reach in, grab something real quick, you can, and shut the tailgate back. And you see it goes up just a touch. That keeps that rubber seal nice and tight. And I haven't had an issue with water pooling here and dumping into the back of the Jeep. So overall, I think if you're carrying stuff, or if you really just want a cover to, kind of keep your gear out of the elements, I think this does a really good job for that. Now, it's worth noting that even though it does have those two prop rods in the front, Rugged Ridge does not recommend driving around with it like that. I think if you're running up to your local Home Depot and you don't have to go 70 miles an hour on the way home, you could probably do it and it's going to be okay. I think they're probably covering their tail, so nothing happens where you haul on a loose tire or something in the back and it hits it and shatters your back glass. So just something to keep in mind. The cover's not hard to take off. You just have two knobs at the very front of it, and then you can pick the whole thing up and take it out of the Jeep. So if you really need to use your whole bed, that's what I'd recommend. Just go ahead and take the whole cover off. The rails stay in place, so it's not like it's that big of a deal to do that and put it back in. It's light enough you can do it with one person, so that's really nice. Now, overall, I would say I'm very happy with this cover. I think for the price and quality of it, I've had this thing on here for quite a while now. I've been very happy with it. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments below. If you got any questions for me, you can always find me at Ali Mansour Editor on Instagram. And until then, hope to see you guys on the trail soon. Take care.